Step back into the nostalgic world of the Beverly Hillbillies, the classic sitcom that brought unforgettable laughter, lovable characters, and heartwarming family moments into millions of homes. Yet behind the humor and charm lies a bittersweet truth. Many of the talented actors who created this iconic series are no longer with us. In this tribute, we look back at their remarkable lives, the roles that defined their careers, and the impact they had on generations of viewers. Their performances shaped one of television's most enduring series, and even today their legacy continues to shine. Join us as we honor the stars whose spirit lives on through every episode. Buddy Ebsen, born April 2, 1908, in Belleville, Illinois, stepped into Hollywood long before he became Jed Clampett at age 54 in 1962, bringing a homespun wisdom and warmth to a role that would define him for generations. Behind the genial mountain patriarch, however, was a man who had survived repeated near-fatal encounters with fame and fortune. Most notoriously, Ebsen's brush with death as the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz when he inhaled aluminum powder left him hospitalized and caused lingering respiratory issues that plagued him for years, shaping a cautious relationship with studios that often frustrated producers and directors. He was known to harbor grudges, including a long-simmering feud with co-star Nancy Culp, which spilled into the public arena when he vocally opposed her congressional run, earning whispers of vindictiveness in Hollywood circles. Ebsen's personal life was a patchwork of resilience and restraint. He avoided the tabloid scandals that ensnared many contemporaries, yet friends recalled his dry humor masking a fierce sense of professional survival and occasional irritation with the capriciousness of the entertainment industry. His career was marked by versatility, from dancing alongside Shirley Temple to shaping the character of Barnaby Jones decades later. Yet he remained haunted by the roles he never secured and the physical vulnerabilities they exposed. Financially, his estate after his death on July 6, 2003 at 95, valued between $2 and $6 million, reflected decades of hard work, rather than reckless indulgence, including careful investments and residuals that provided stability. Though Jed Clampett projected a simple, generous heart, Buddy Ebsen's life revealed the calculated endurance of a man navigating fame, health crises, and Hollywood politics, whose charm on screen belied a life tempered by pain, near tragedy, and the quiet assertion of his own moral code in an often ruthless industry, leaving a legacy both beloved and subtly complex. Irene Ryan, born October 17, 1902 in El Paso, Texas, arrived at the set of the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962 at age 60, transforming herself into Granny the feisty, shotgun-toting matriarch whose wit and eccentric remedies became emblematic of the show. Yet beneath the humor was a woman forged in hardship years of touring vaudeville with Bob Hope, and others exposed her to relentless travel frugality and the emotional toll of constantly performing under unstable conditions. Her childhood and young adult years were marked by instability, failed family structures, and the necessity of masking vulnerability behind a practiced stage persona, which later translated into an intense protectiveness of her work. Off-screen, Ryan's life included 2 failed marriages and a persistent struggle against loneliness, compounded by a heavy chain-smoking habit that ultimately contributed to declining health. Though she avoided public scandal, she could be fiercely combative behind the scenes, reportedly clashing with cast and crew over even minor creative differences, reflecting a lifelong fear of being dismissed or underappreciated. Ryan navigated Hollywood's gendered and ageist landscape with tenacity, balancing the demands of television fame with lingering memories of financial precarity and the transient nature of theatrical success. Her death on April 26, 1973, at age 70, from glioblastoma, an arteriosclerotic heart disease, ended a life of contrast between on-screen warmth and off-screen vulnerability. Her estate, valued around $1 million, largely funded the Irene Ryan Acting Scholarship, ensuring her influence continued beyond her performances, supporting new generations of actors and navigating the same unforgiving industry that had shaped her. Ryan's legacy remains one of sharp intelligence humor, honed through hardship and a quiet insistence on respect and craft, highlighting the complex intersection of personal struggle, professional dedication, and enduring cultural impact. Donna Douglas, born September 26, 1932 in Pride, Louisiana, was 30 when she became Ellie Mae Clampett in 1962, embodying innocence, charm, and an unconventional tomboy beauty that captivated audiences and made her an enduring figure in pop culture. Off-camera, Douglas's life revealed layers of ambition, litigation, faith, and personal struggle that often contrasted sharply with her wholesome public persona. She became involved in high-profile legal battles, most notably a $200 million lawsuit against Disney and Whoopi Goldberg, alleging that Sister Act had plagiarized her screenplay, a case she lost but which exposed her readiness to confront major industry powers over perceived creative theft. Later, she sued Mattel for unauthorized use of her likeness on an Ellie Mae Barbie, reflecting her insistence on personal agency over her image. Douglas's career was also punctuated by typecasting, limiting her ability to secure roles outside the iconic character, and she occasionally faced criticism for being overly controlling on set or insistently protecting her personal brand. Her personal life included complex religious devotion, financial ventures in real estate, and the maintenance of an idyllic Southern lifestyle for herself and friends, all while coping with the pressures of fame and later serious illness. She passed away on January 1, 2015 at 82 from pancreatic cancer, leaving an estate estimated between $500,000 and $1 million derived from royalties, property, and side businesses. Despite legal battles, illness, and public scrutiny, Douglas maintained a reputation for generosity and warmth toward fans, often hosting intimate cast events and personally corresponding with admirers, a testament to her enduring affection for those who loved Ellie Mae. Her life and career reveal a woman navigating the demands of celebrity personal belief and creative protection, leaving a legacy defined by both the charm of her iconic role and the tenacity with which she guarded her intellectual and personal property. Raymond Bailey was born May 6, 1904 in San Francisco and assumed the role of Milburn Drysdale in 1962 at the age of 58, immediately establishing himself as the pompous, wealth-obsessed banker whose obsession with the Clampett fortune bordered on pathological. Drysdale's every anxious glance and sycophantic flattery of Jed mirrored Bailey's own lifelong fascination with status and financial security, perhaps rooted in his turbulent early life. Bailey grew up in modest circumstances and faced repeated setbacks that would have crushed a lesser man. As a young actor, he was dismissed from studio work for sneaking into a scene, and his reputation for being overly demanding and meticulous in rehearsals earned him the label of difficult to work with. He spent years drifting as a merchant seaman, often returning to Hollywood only to face rejection, underscoring a career built on dogged persistence rather than early privilege. Despite a public persona largely free of tabloid scandal, insider accounts describe Bailey as prickly and sometimes vindictive, prone to petty arguments with co-stars and minor crew members, and obsessively protective of his character's portrayal, going so far as to insist on script rewrites that inflated Drysdale's influence in ways that irritated writers. He was rumored to have quietly manipulated contracts to secure residuals long before they were standard, a testament to his shrewd if secretive approach to wealth. Socially, Bailey remained distant, rarely engaging in Hollywood nightlife, and his personal life was marked by a few failed romances, though none became public scandal. Ironically, a man who personified avarice on screen never amassed a truly vast fortune off screen. When he died on April 15, 1980, at age 75 from a heart attack in Los Angeles, his estate was modestly valued between $400,000 and $1 million, leaving behind a legacy defined less by material wealth than by a singular ability to transform greed into comedy that still resonates with audiences today. Nancy Culp, born August 28, 1921 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, entered the public eye as Jane Hathaway in 1962 at the age of 41, delivering a performance that captured both the dignity and the repressed longing of the prim, intellectually formidable secretary. Hathaway's meticulousness, dry wit, and unrequited crush on Jethro made her a fan favorite. But behind the poised exterior, Culp's life was marked by a series of personal and professional battles that few ever knew. A product of a strict conservative upbringing, she overcame the rigid expectations of her youth to serve as a Naval Reserve officer in World War I, navigating a male-dominated environment before stepping into Hollywood, where intelligence was often undervalued. Culp's professional life was punctuated by setbacks. Her 1984 bid for Congress ended in public humiliation when former co-star Buddy Ebsen sabotaged her campaign with a radio ad, labeling her too liberal a betrayal she reportedly never forgave, and which revealed the persistent political undercurrents in her industry relationships. Rumors regarding her sexuality circulated for decades, adding an extra layer of scrutiny and pressure. She confirmed she was gay late in life, highlighting the double standards and clandestine judgment faced by actresses of her era. Culp was known for her obsessive attention to propriety and correctness traits that sometimes created friction with younger or less disciplined cast members, and though she avoided major personal scandals, she faced the quiet isolation of a woman at odds with Hollywood's superficial social networks. At her death on February 3, 1991, at 69, following a battle with cancer, her net worth was estimated at $1 million. $5 million largely accrued from shrewd management of her television residuals and a careful, frugal lifestyle. Her story is one of contrast, a brilliant mind constrained by societal expectation, a career punctuated by both acclaim and betrayal, and a private resilience that made her both enigmatic and quietly revolutionary in an era that often punished women for intellect and independence. Harriet E. McGibbon was born October 5, 1905 in Chicago, and assumed the role of Mrs. Margaret Drysdale in 1962, at 57, becoming the embodiment of high society haughtiness and refined cruelty in a character whose disdain for the Clampetts was as cutting as her perfectly poised social airs. McGibbon's on-screen imperiousness reflected a lifetime steeped in elite expectations and strict personal discipline. She hailed from a prominent family and had long performed on Broadway, before Hollywood beckoned, cultivating a persona of exacting taste and icy sophistication. Behind this glamorous facade, McGibbon was notorious for her demanding temperament. She would insist on last-minute script changes, quarrel over costume details, and enforce meticulous standards of set behavior that alienated junior cast and crew alike. Though she avoided public scandal, industry gossip whispered about her diva tendencies, her strategic manipulation of production elements to enhance her character, and her occasional coldness toward younger performers, painting a portrait of a woman who wielded control quietly but ruthlessly. Unlike her character's opulence, McGibbon's actual estate was strikingly modest, valued at only around $59,000 at her death, highlighting the contrast between the air she projected and her private financial reality. Her personal life was discreet, with no known marriages or major public controversies, though she reportedly lived a solitary existence, surrounded more by professional obligations than by family or social intimates. She died on February 8, 1987, at age 81 from heart and lung failure, leaving behind a legacy defined by her piercing satire of class snobbery and her ability to command attention with an understated but lethal elegance. McGibbon's career is remembered as a masterclass in disciplined performance, a vivid demonstration of how meticulous control and private austerity can create a public image of irresistible sophistication and biting social critique. Beba Naderette, born April 4, 1906 in New York City, stepped into the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962 at the age of 56 as cousin Pearl Bodine, a meddling and sharp-tongued relative who constantly stirred chaos for the Clampetts. Pearl's character was sly, flirtatious, and ambitious, embodying a certain moral ambiguity that made her scenes irresistible. Audiences loved her ability to manipulate situations for laughs while maintaining a veneer of charm. Bee's own childhood was a contrast to Pearl's playful cunning. She grew up in modest circumstances, the daughter of a Jewish father and Methodist mother, facing financial hardships and early family tensions. She reportedly suffered from teasing and a sense of inadequacy as a child, feelings she buried beneath her sharp wit and stage presence. Her early career was a mix of voice acting and radio earning her fame, yet keeping her in relative obscurity compared to Hollywood's A-listers. Bee's professional life was punctuated with near misses. She was considered for Ethel Mertz on I Love Lucy, only to be passed over and often clashed with producers over her insistence on quality and professionalism. She battled a lifelong smoking habit that eventually contributed to her lung cancer, filming some of her last Hillbillies episodes, while invisible discomfort, a testament to her dedication, but also her vulnerability. Personally, she was private and reportedly had tense relationships with colleagues who misunderstood her forthrightness. When she died on October 13, 1968, at 62 from lung cancer, complicated by pneumonia in Los Angeles, her estate, primarily from decades of television and radio work, was estimated at $15 million. Bea Benadérez's legacy is bittersweet, a voice acting legend and screen talent whose contributions often went unsung, whose personal struggle behind the scenes mirrored the nuanced, mischievous characters she portrayed. Shug Fisher, born September 26, 1907 in Tabler, Oklahoma, joined the Beverly Hillbillies at 55 to portray Shorty Kellums, a scruffy, genial farmer whose comedic timing and rustic charm made him an unforgettable part of Clampett country. Shorty's character thrived on subtle absurdities, bemused reactions, and moments of endearing awkwardness. Yet Fisher's own life behind the camera reflected a rugged, unpolished reality. He came from a hardscrabble upbringing, working in oil fields and farm labor, before carving a niche in country music and vaudeville. His early years were filled with economic instability, frequent moves, and an often harsh blue-collar environment, forcing him to cultivate resilience and a quick wit. In Hollywood, he became a member of the Sons of the Pioneers and appeared in numerous Roy Rogers films, but he was not immune to professional frustrations. He occasionally clashed with directors over creative control and was notorious for heavy drinking during shoots, sometimes straining sets. Despite his cowboy image, Fisher avoided scandal, though some colleagues whispered of minor on-set altercations and his unpredictable temper under stress. His personal life, while less dramatic than other stars, included complicated romantic liaisons that never culminated in lasting marriage and a reputation for being fiercely loyal, yet difficult to know intimately. Fisher died on March 16, 1984 at 76 after a lingering illness in Los Angeles. At death, he had accumulated roughly $1.5 million, combining royalties from his music and TV work. Fisher remains a fascinating study of the intersection between persona and reality, a performer whose jovial hillbilly mask concealed decades of labor, hardship, and quiet resilience, a man who lived the archetype he portrayed with authenticity and occasional turbulence. Sharon Tate, born January 24, 1943 in Dallas, Texas, appeared on the Beverly Hillbillies at just 20 as Janet Trego, the glamorous secretary whose beauty and charisma captivated the Clampetts and television audiences alike. Janet's role was brief, yet iconic. She embodied the aspirational, alluring young woman, balancing charm with subtle intelligence, leaving viewers entranced by her poise and on-screen magnetism. Tate's real life, however, was a tempestuous mixture of privilege, insecurity, and danger. She was the daughter of a career-focused family whose frequent moves and parental absences left her craving approval and stability. By adolescence, she had been pushed into modeling and acting, facing objectification and harsh critique experiences that honed her composure but masked personal vulnerability. Her Hollywood ascent was meteoric, marked by high-profile romances, a whirlwind marriage to Roman Polanski, and rumors of involvement in counterculture circles, including eerie whispers surrounding occult fascination in the late 1960s. Tate's life took a horrific turn when on August 9, 1969, at the age of 26, she was brutally murdered by members of the Manson family while 8 months pregnant. At her death, her estate was modest, around $45,000, equivalent to roughly $300,000 today, far below the immense potential her rising career promised. Behind the glamorous facade, Tate had navigated the pressures of fame, the objectification of Hollywood, and the terror of a world where personal safety could vanish overnight. Her death remains a searing testament to the fragility of celebrity, the unpredictability of human cruelty, and the fleeting nature of beauty and talent in a merciless industry. Frank Wilcox, born March 13, 1907, in DeSoto, Missouri, took on the role of John Brewster in the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962 at age 55, portraying the urbane, calculating oil executive whose polished charm masked a relentless drive to control Jed Clampett's newfound fortune. Brewster was the perfect blend of sophistication and sly opportunism, a character who both amused and unnerved audiences as he constantly plotted to secure the Clampett's wealth for his company. Off-screen, Wilcox's life was less glamorous than his on-screen persona suggested. He was raised in a financially struggling household, the eldest of 4 children forced to work from a young age in order to support his family after his father's business failed during the Great Depression. He carried a quiet shame from being repeatedly ridiculed in school for his stammer and unassuming looks, learning early to mask vulnerability with a wry, detached wit that would define his adult demeanor. His early career was marked by long stretches of minor, often uncredited roles, and he endured repeated rejections, which embittered him and made him notoriously hard to collaborate with on set. Colleagues whispered about his meticulous manipulation of casting decisions and his tendency to subtly undermine rivals' traits that earned him a reputation as both brilliant and coldly calculating. Financially, Wilcox faced setbacks, including a failed restaurant in Encino that left him deep in debt, compounded by a compulsive collection of Hollywood memorabilia that drained his income. Though he avoided overt public scandal, private accounts describe him as socially isolated, controlling, and occasionally brusque with younger actors, often demanding perfection in a way that created tension behind the scenes. Despite his 150-plus film credits, he never attained the level of celebrity he might have hoped for, a shadowy presence always on the periphery of stardom. Wilcox died of a heart attack on March 3, 1974 in Los Angeles at 66, leaving an estate estimated between $500,000 and $1 million, including his Encino home and a valuable but niche collection of vintage film posters and classic automobiles. Elvia Allman, born September 19, 1904 in Enochville, North Carolina, assumed the role of Elverna Bradshaw in the Beverly Hillbillies at age 59, delivering a character whose nosiness, scheming ways, and social climbing antics made her one of the show's most memorable sources of comic tension. Elverna's exaggerated vanity and eagerness to humiliate others in pursuit of status resonated with audiences, yet the actress behind the role endured a far more turbulent reality. Allman's childhood was marred by neglect and instability. Her parents divorced when she was very young, leaving her to navigate a rotating series of relatives and foster homes, instilling in her both a sharp intelligence and a biting sarcasm that became her armor. She entered show business through radio pioneering roles in voice work that included Disney's Clarabelle Cow, yet her personal life was a roller coaster. Allman's 3 marriages, particularly to the flamboyant and infamous sports promoter Cash and Carrie Pyle, thrust her into tabloid scrutiny during the Depression era, exposing her to rumors of affairs and high-stakes financial entanglements she largely endured silently. Colleagues noted her backstage cunning, recounting stories of Allman subtly sabotaging competitors for minor roles or rewrites, often leaving others frustrated, while she maintained her reputation as the Queen of Mirth. While she never descended into outright scandal, her penchant for manipulating social dynamics on set, combined with a quick temper and love of gossip, painted a picture of a woman who thrived in chaos as much as comedy. Her later years saw both triumph and solitude as her syndicated shows and residuals brought significant wealth, yet few close relationships endured. Allman passed away from pneumonia on March 6, 1992 in Los Angeles at 87, leaving a net worth estimated at $5 million, a testament to decades of shrewd career choices and business acumen. Roger Torrey, born May 9, 1938 in Pocatello, Idaho, entered the Beverly Hillbillies at 31 as Mark Templeton, the dashing Navy frogman who became a brief but memorable romantic interest for Ellie Mae Clampett. Mark's steadfast courage, understated charisma, and rugged handsomeness made him a fan favorite, though Torrey's off-screen life was far more complex and shadowed by struggle. His early years were marked by emotional instability, as his parents' divorce and repeated relocations left him feeling rootless and cautious in forming attachments, fostering both a stoic exterior and a simmering resentment of authority. Torrey's career trajectory was a mix of opportunity and missed chances. He was considered for Jethro Bodine, a role that could have cemented him as a household name, but he clashed with producers over script control and typecasting, earning a reputation for being difficult yet uncompromising about his artistic standards. Rumors circulated of brief scandalous affairs and minor gambling debts, though he remained outwardly devoted to his wife, John Sanders, who provided a stabilizing influence amid the Hollywood chaos. His reputation for intense professionalism masked bouts of private frustration and loneliness, and he was known to harbor lingering resentment over roles he felt were beneath his talent, often withdrawing from projects quietly rather than risk confrontation. Torrey's sudden death from a cerebral hemorrhage on December 17, 1985 in Los Angeles at 47, shocked colleagues and fans alike, cutting short a career full of unrealized potential. At his passing, his estate, including a modest Los Angeles home and a prized collection of vintage motorcycles, was valued at around $250,000, a modest figure reflecting a career of promise never fully realized. Larry Pennell, born February 21, 1928, in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, stormed into television history as Dash Riprock in the Beverly Hillbillies in 1965, at age 37, portraying the brash, overconfident movie Heartthrob, whose awkward attempts to woo Ellie Mae became a comic centerpiece of the series. Dash was the epitome of vanity and charm, a parody of Hollywood masculinity that audiences loved to both mock and admire his swagger, masking a character often insecure beneath the surface. Pennell's real life mirrored some of Dash's contradictions. His early years were turbulent, marked by a father struggling to hold a small business and a mother battling chronic illness, creating an environment of economic stress and emotional neglect. As a child, he faced relentless teasing over his gangly frame and awkward coordination, which he hid behind a cultivated sense of humor and a love of sports. Baseball became both his refuge and a path to early confidence. He briefly pursued professional baseball, traveling across the minor leagues, but the instability of the career and physical setbacks pushed him toward acting, where he hoped to channel his charm and athleticism. Hollywood, however, was no safe haven. Pennell gained a reputation for being difficult to direct, occasionally clashing with co-stars and producers, while rumors swirled about womanizing and using his charisma to navigate both social and professional circles. One of his career's most painful blows came when a high-profile movie contract was suddenly canceled, leaving him financially and emotionally shaken and forcing him to reevaluate his aspirations in the competitive entertainment industry. Off-screen, he juggled a series of romantic entanglements and brief marriages that never provided lasting emotional stability, often retreating into gambling and risk-taking as coping mechanisms. Despite a sometimes chaotic professional and personal life, Pennell remained disciplined and financially savvy, making careful investments in real estate and stocks that ultimately grew his net worth. Larry Pennell died on August 28, 2013 at 85 from natural causes in Thousand Oaks, California, leaving behind an estate valued between $1 million and $5 million. Frank Cady, born September 8, 1915, in Susanville, California, assumed the role of Sam Drucker in the Beverly Hillbillies at age 53, becoming the steady, empathetic storekeeper who connected the rural simplicity of Hooterville to the absurd opulence of Beverly Hills. Yet Cady's own childhood was far from idyllic, raised during the economic hardships of the Great Depression. In a family with limited means, he endured frequent humiliation at school due to his timid personality and slight-build, learning early to suppress emotions and rely on a keen intelligence to navigate adversity. His path to acting was long and often discouraging. He worked countless minor roles in theater, radio, and film, facing rejection and typecasting, while occasionally clashing with directors over the minutiae of performance and authenticity. Despite a reputation for professionalism, colleagues noted a stubborn streak and meticulous perfectionism that sometimes slowed production schedules. Cady's private life, by contrast, was remarkably stable, yet quietly complicated. He maintained a long, loving marriage, but the demands of constant work and extended periods on location created subtle strains, and his children reportedly experienced periods of rebellion and emotional distance, leaving Katie to reconcile the tension between family devotion and career ambition. Professionally, his most significant setback may have been repeated near misses for leading roles where timing, studio politics, or typecasting thwarted potential breakthroughs. Yet he never publicly complained, cultivating a persona of calm resilience. Beyond acting, Sadie managed his finances, prudently benefiting from royalties and residuals as his work became syndicated, resulting in an estate estimated between $1.5 million and $3 million at his death. Frank Cady passed away on June 8, 2012 at 96 from natural causes, leaving a legacy of understated brilliance, a career shaped by steady perseverance, personal integrity, and the rare ability to charm audiences without scandal, proving that a Hollywood life could be rich in influence even without sensationalism. Bill Baldwin, born November 26, 1913 in Pueblo, Colorado, became the authoritative yet invisible narrator of the Beverly Hillbillies at age 50. His deep, resonant voice shaping the comedy's narrative and lending a sense of gravitas to the Clampetts' outlandish adventures. Baldwin's voice carried both humor and irony, making him an indispensable presence, even as he remained largely unseen, a master of subtle influence over audience perception and the comedic timing of others. His early life was marked by adversity growing up in a working-class family. During the interwar years, he witnessed his father struggle with alcoholism and his mother labor tirelessly to keep the household afloat, experiences that instilled in him resilience, self-reliance, and an early familiarity with the fragility of human ambition. Professionally, Baldwin's career in radio and broadcasting during Mabihuin as a correspondent honed his storytelling skills, but also exposed him to the intense pressures and hazards of frontline reporting. Later in Hollywood, he built a reputation as tireless and exacting, sometimes causing friction with producers and colleagues when his standards conflicted with production schedules. Despite this, Baldwin remained free from the scandals that ensnared many contemporaries, though he battled chronic health issues that ultimately curtailed his professional output. His most profound career disappointment came when a promising television narration contract was abruptly terminated due to network restructuring, highlighting the precariousness of behind-the-scenes work in an industry obsessed with celebrity. Personal relationships were largely private. He reportedly endured bouts of loneliness and social isolation, seeking solace in work and occasional friendships with fellow voice actors. Bill Baldwin died on November 17, 1982 at 68 from cancer in Los Angeles, leaving a modest estate of around $250,000, a reflection of an era when voice work, however essential, rarely translated into wealth. Thank you for watching as we reflected on the lives and legacies of the actors from the Beverly Hillbillies who are no longer with us. Their humor, charm, and unforgettable performances brought joy to millions and helped shape the show into a classic. While their journeys ended far too soon, their impact lives on through every scene, every laugh, and every memory they've left behind. As we honor their lives, we're reminded of how deeply television can touch our hearts. Join us next time as we look back at more stars who left us too soon, but whose stories continue to shine.